China says that the president and Xi reportedly, Jim, held a call this morning. That's all we know for now.
All right, look, I think that one of the things that's got to be on the agenda is that China is short shipping, it's a term they use, the rare earth magnets, the metals, and it's starting to close our factories. They're not doing it, by the way, to Germans or the Japanese are targeting us. This is obviously very important because...
I wonder why. That is CNBC reporting on the fact that Xi and Trump had a surprise phone call this morning, and we don't know anything about it yet right now. Just as of when I'm recording this, going live, Chinese state media is the only institution that has confirmed this took place, but we believe it to be the case. NBC News reports President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping held a phone call Thursday amid ongoing tensions between the two superpowers. Before going further, welcome everybody to the morning broadcast. I hope you're doing absolutely wonderful. As always, if you become a member by clicking the join button on YouTube while we're still live, I will read out your name to thank you and thank you to everybody watching the recorded versions of this. Chinese state media and the Chinese Foreign Ministry said the call happened at the White House's request. No other information was immediately made public. It gets really petty. We saw already the whole Bassett coming out and saying, I'm waiting for China to call, and China's saying, we're waiting for them to call. And so then there was just a standstill, and it's our bottom line that suffers because of this ego off. And hopefully it was a productive call. But we talked about on yesterday's show during these hearings where even Republican Senator John Kennedy was really baffled. If we have time today, I'll look at his discussions after that hearing. He was really baffled by the lack of logic in their trade policy. So I don't even think they know exactly what they want from China. And so it's going to be difficult for a good solution to come as tensions rise. Yesterday, Trump posted on Truth Social something like, I'll always love Xi. Or
China!
Something. Yeah, you got to love China. But he's a difficult man to negotiate with. So that's where things stand, and we'll be checking in to see where that call actually went. In much bigger news, though, and this one I did grab because producer Cole would be very interested in it. USA Today reports restaurant chain Hooters abruptly closed over 30 locations across multiple states. Actually, when I read this out before we went live, Cole went, well, play the, this was Cole. And I said, Cole, calm down. My goodness, we can still find you a Hooters somewhere. I promise. I promise.
Why are you the way that you are?
I think that was directed at me. FactPost said Hooters has abruptly closed dozens of restaurants just months into Donald Trump's presidency. And so I guess they're attaching this to Trump's policies. Hooters said in a statement to USA Today that the closed stores were company-owned and called the closures a difficult decision. Hooters will be well positioned to continue our iconic legacy under a pure franchise business model. We are committed to supporting our impacted team members throughout this process and are incredibly grateful to our valued customers for their loyalty and dedication to the Hooters brand. Okay. So to the loyalists out there, to the Hooters brand, I am sorry. Cole, I am sorry. And frankly, this is Trump's America, okay? This is Trump's doing. Do you understand? We now live in a country where Hooters can't keep their doors open. And what is more American than Hooters? I've said it before. Trump doesn't value fundamental American principles. Democracy, as he tried to overturn an election. Our Constitution, as he said it should be terminated. Hooters, as he's causing the closures of, we'll say. I don't know if that's true, but his economic policies we're just going to blame. Okay? Okay? I don't think you're getting me. Let me put it a different way. What is more American than looking at strangers with distinct, as we talked about in the AI segment, physical characteristics, serving you hot wings as you're going through a divorce. What is more American than that? Answer that for me. What is more American than being modestly, not extremely, but modestly overweight and going into a restaurant so that you can drink beer, look at women, not touch, look, with distinct physical characteristics as you're on the phone with your lawyer discussing your children's custody? What is more American than that? And in Trump's America, pretty soon, you won't be able to have mayo rolling down your cheek as you think the waitress being nice to you is actually into you, even though she's just trying to get a tip because she's a hardworking American. What is America going to become when you can't go have a group of female strangers sing you a birthday song? Is this a real thing? I just get this from The Office, but put your front side in, put your front side out, put your front side in, and you shake it all about. That's from The Office. I don't know if that's actually at Hooters. In all honesty, I maybe went to Hooters once, and that was one of those, like, your coach takes the boys after a football game to Hooters. A little weird. Kids, there's a few things you need to know about being a man. You need to hit people hard in the football field. And you need to like boobs. We're going to go to Hooters. Beer. Boobs. What's the word for a food that has B in it? Brisket. Beers, boobs, brisket. That's what they would say to me. We're going to Hooters. To which little me, given my issue, went into Hooters and was like, this is weird. This is fun. This is weird. It was fun though, but weird. So here's the point. Everyone, focus. You're getting distracted. How do we uphold American ideals if we don't stand for the most basic American ambiance as Hooters? And Trump's economy is causing 30 locations. How many Hooters locations even are there? How many Hooters locations are there? Well, 420. So 30 shutting down of 420 is a pretty big chunk. Where will you go when you just lost your job and you're still with your wife, but you sleep in different rooms? And you want your son to know what being a man means? Where would you take them if Hooters shut down? Where would you take them? What, are you going to go to IHOP? What, are you going to go to Denny's? I don't feel like that's the best analogy. What's Fuddruckers? Is that a thing? That's a Texas thing. I don't know. Fuddruckers. Hooters. Beers. Boobs. Brisket. And again, in Trump's America, they're shutting down. I love crapping on Trump, but it does crack me up that, like, that's a liberal account story. You know, Hooters is shutting down because of Trump. Now, if anyone in the audience is feeling weird because you love Hooters, I don't actually know much about Hooters. I'm probably just going off of the stereotype. Maybe it's perfectly wonderful. And who doesn't like beautiful people? Beautiful people are great. I just feel like you're setting people up to be harassed, but I might just be a sensitive soy boy. I don't know. I really don't. All right, moving on from that. Chuck Grassley. This is so funny, okay? Similar to how maybe I'm not the most qualified to speak on Hooters, Chuck Grassley's not the most qualified to speak on this issue. 91-year-old Chuck Grassley goes on Fox to discuss Biden's decline. Okay. And so he gets asked, is this auto pin conspiracy even valid? Is it illegal to use an auto pin? Trump used it, Obama used it, Biden used it, Bush used it. And Chuck Grassley goes, I don't know. Maybe I should know that. Thanks, Chuck.
You've got an ear to the ground down there. What's your hunch at the moment?
My hunch at the moment is that they're going to come up with a lot of things that the president did not sign.
Everyone stop. Everyone stop. Stop for a second here. I feel humiliated. I feel disgraced that I did not think of this. Christopher sent in a super chat. How did I not think of the word burgers or Bible? Obviously, thank you. He said beers, boobs, burgers, Bible with the boys, right? That's what my my Pee-wee football coach taught me. That was my one Hooters experience. Was learning about beers, boobs, Bible, burgers with the boys. It was good. Sure. You guys are crazy. Shirley. I don't like when I can't pronounce the name. Shirley Bummer? I don't know. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate it oh so very much. Cole said, what? Nope. Sorry, can't read that.
Clean, beautiful Cole.
I do appreciate you greatly, though. Just y'all can figure it out. It was a joke about Caroline Leavitt, but I do not approve of such jokes. Sage, thank you so much for becoming a member. Let's start this one over again. Chuck Grassley, 91, is going to tell us about how he doesn't think Biden was cognitively fit.
You've got an ear to the ground down there. What's your hunch at the moment?
My hunch at the moment is that they're going to come up with a lot of things that the president did not sign, maybe thousands of things that's signed by AutoPan. And if that's the case, it would raise a lot of questions about the thoroughness when 2,500 people were pardoned, including people with a murder conviction. Those are serious charges. I don't know the answer, but I'm sure that Pam Bondi will get to the bottom of it.
Okay, but Senator, I apologize for the interruption there. It's my understanding it's not illegal to use an auto pen, is it?
I can't answer that question for you. Maybe I should be able to, but I can't, and I'm not going to comment on something I don't know for sure.
Okay, so what the president's talking about is 200 judges appointed to federal benches, the issuance of more than 1,000 presidential documents. There are questions about pardons, et cetera, and we'll see where
Maybe I should know that. Yeah, maybe so, Chuck. You're accusing the president of, well, number one, the president not being in control of his administration. But number two, treason? Would it be treason for people just to go, bring me the auto pen. I'm going to sign this for Biden. And you don't know if auto pen use is legal? It is, by the way, you should know. If you're going to say it's illegal, Trump has done it and admitted to it. I can't even say that again because no one seems to care. But Trump's the only one who admitted to it, to not knowing about something that had a signature on it. So, but Chuck, who's supposed to be uncovering this for us about how Biden, it was all, things were happening. He didn't know it. People were being pardoned without his knowledge, even though he talked about those pardons publicly. He doesn't even know if it's legal to use an auto pen. It is, and it's used constantly. And you have no evidence that Biden wasn't aware of things that were being signed with his signature. But when they list off 1,000 documents, you think the president wants to spend time sitting there? Joe Biden, Joe Biden, Joe Biden. No, you just say, yes, I sign off on those. Go. Makes sense. Efficiency. He's a busy guy. He has to get back to dinner with Jill, okay? He reads late into the night, as Jill told us. Very late. And I do want to thank, while we continue forward, Shayna Walker, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Sheep Animation said for Hooters, Beers, boobs, buffalo wings. Y'all are so much better. Sorry, I failed you on that. I should have planned that out. It was just heat of the moment. And then Chuck, I think maybe just as far as the whole Biden decline story goes, maybe Chuck, we sit this one out. Maybe, like, I wouldn't ask Dahmer to help me investigate a homicide case. I just think, I don't know if that would work necessarily. Maybe he would know a lot. So maybe I would, I don't know. But it doesn't seem like that would be right. Chuck Grassley, I think, is a similar case. And age is just a number. But I can see that number all over your face, Chuck, okay? Let me just specify. I just love that. We need to get to the bottom of if Joe Biden was cognitively fit. One basic question, sir. I don't know, but maybe I should. All right. Trump appoints 22-year-old. I'm 22. Put that in perspective. 20, but not me. 22-year-old ex-gardener. And I've never heard someone described as that in my whole entire life. An ex-gardener. And grocery store assistant to lead U.S. terror prevention. To lead U.S. terror prevention. The inexperienced 22-year-old reportedly tasked by Donald Trump with tackling U.S. extremism was working as a neighborhood gardener, which is fine, but maybe just doesn't give you the qualifications to... Dealing with the terror of weeds doesn't necessarily make you qualified to deal with the terror of people. Gardener just 5 years ago and in a grocery store as recently as August 2023. Now, I didn't get their permission to share this, but one of the people who works for the show said, sent me the link to this article and said this was early this morning. This is how I wake up in the morning, okay? This is literally like if you woke up today, the head of the terrorism unit, WTF, and I said, did you hear Hooters is shutting down? No. I said, insane. And she said he mowed lawns and worked at an HEB in Austin, which we love HEB. HEB's great. This guy couldn't stop me ringing up chicken thighs as bananas, but he's supposed to protect us from terrorism. We're all gonna die, lol. So that's hopeful. The inexperienced 22-year-old reportedly tasked by Donald Trump with tackling U.S. extremism. We go to a grocery store. Okay. Thomas Fugatti was graduated from the University of Texas at San Antonio just 12 months ago. Is currently heading up the Center for Prevention Programs and Partnerships at the DHS. The center, also known as CP3, plays a vital role supporting nationwide efforts to combat terrorism and hate-fueled violence. Now, they do mention landscape. He's doing landscape. And then it seems like he just worked at a lot of Republican groups, the Heritage Foundation, Republican Party stuff, and then worked as a special assistant in an immigration office at the DHS. So I guess that's his qualifications. But here's what was coming to my mind when I saw a 22-year-old in this hugely powerful position. Yes, that scares me. Yes, him not being super qualified scares me. But why does the Democratic Party never do this? Here's my statement, okay? I'm saying it now, quote me later, and you better follow through on this, Democrats. Whoever wins the presidential election, Shapiro, Buttigieg, if Kamala makes another run at it, whoever, if you become president, you have to, sorry, this is just, we collectively as a movement have decided this. You have to put me into some major position of power. I didn't make the rules. That's what has to happen. And I think I'm even more qualified than this guy, by the way, just as a side note. So it wouldn't even be as dangerous. But at least Trump has taken chances. trying out new people. And sorry, I have to have really flexible hours because I'll still need to do this show. But if you want to put me, whoever the next president is, if you're a Democrat, as the U.S. terror prevention head, fine. I will still need to, during business hours, focus on the show. Then in the evening, I can work on terror. I'm happy with doing both. I'm a very hard worker. I haven't done gardening except for at my own house growing up, but I've worked in restaurants. I've done sales. I've been an assistant. So I don't know if any of those qualify. I have, for the last couple of years, done a podcast, but I talk a lot about political things. So I probably know more than this guy about things and stuff and events. So I don't make the rules, but we all came together, members of the pro-democracy, anti-Trump, whatever group, and said, Luke Beasley has to get a position in the next administration. Sorry. That's just, I do think actually at debates, that's a question that should be asked, is just sort of a litmus test. Will you put Luke into a cabinet position? I don't even know if that's legal with my age, I'll be the U.S. terror prevention guy. Because if they're doing it with Mr. Thomas here, they could do it with me. That's what we're learning, okay? And so the debate, it should be Dana Bash, welcome back to the debate. I don't know if you heard, Jake Tapper has a new book, but what position would you put Luke Beasley into in your administration to prove that you're as daring as the Trump administration was willing to be? And are you okay with him working virtually and flexible hours so he can still do his show? I don't know. I think it's something to think about. Speaking of books, I brought up Jake Tapper's book. I told you yesterday, okay, the bonus shows recently, this isn't even just a plug because members are awesome and everything. They've been on fire. They've gotten personal. They've been fun. Yesterday, I broke a speaking record for how fast I could say 5 words in a row. Fine, I'll show you. Let me pull it up. I'll show you. I know you want to see. Let's see here. Depend on us understanding that that's a really big difference. That doesn't mean we don't want to make the Democratic Party much better. We do. Yeah. That was fun. Not sped up, but it's just been on fire. And yesterday we talked about Karine JeanPierre, who is selling her own book about a broken White House. President Joe Biden was 80. He was 80. And I knew it the whole time. I didn't say anything. And it was fun. So I'll try to recap some of that because there's a new update since yesterday's bonus show about this, where she's kind of being dogpiled by the Biden supporters or whatever. Weeks after the release of a best-selling book detailing... Who is the book by? This best-selling book. I want to know. Detailing Democratic concerns, Jake Tapper, in 2024 about President Joe Biden's ability to serve as a second term. His former press secretary said she has written a book that will detail working in a broken White House and her decision to leave the Democratic Party and become an independent. So brave. The book from former White House press secretary Karine JeanPierre, titled Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House Outside the Party Lines, will describe the 3 weeks that led to Biden's abandoning his bid for a second term and the betrayal by the Democratic Party that led to his decision. Karine JeanPierre said in a statement that once Biden's term ended and President Donald Trump returned to office, she determined, and this is what I started to make fun of, okay? All of this is with love. Y'all know that. Love, 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 and mockery. She said a bunch of stuff, and none of it has any meaning. Like, she never specified... Okay, listen to this. She determined that the danger we face as a country requires freeing ourselves of boxes. We need to be willing to exercise the ability to think creatively and plan strategically. Yes, yes, yes. We need to be clear-eyed and questioning rather than blindly loyal and obedient as we may have been in the past. What does that mean? So it's very big stuff. And she actually inspired me. So yesterday on the bonus show, join button below. Yes, that's how you become a member. I'm going to give you a sneak peek here, but normally you don't get to see it unless you're a member. I made a bold, brave announcement. Take a look.
October 21st.
Okay, October 21st. But this is exciting. I have a book that I'm going to be selling, actually. I'm tragically here to report to you that every single person in my neighborhood was just shot dead by my producer, Jaden. I don't know how we'll move forward, but I tried to answer that question in my new book called Trust. Trust. There's my face. Biden's decline, what I knew, and who's to blame. A Luke Beasley story. And in this book, all of the pages, I will be documenting how we move forward, what I knew, who I knew, and how I knew. Because I was at the debate, okay? I was there, well, in the spin room. And really, Lindy Lee said it best when she said, my story is unique in that it's me. And so in this book, Trust by Luke Beasley, Biden's Decline, What I Knew, and Who's to Blame, I will be documenting what I saw. Like some things that have never been shared before. Let me read. In 2023, a video emerged of President Joe Biden. Well, sorry, I saw a video that emerged. I'll edit that. I saw Joe Biden trip on a sandbag, and that did y'all saw that too? Okay, no, I have other anecdotes. Wait. In June of 2024, I was in the spin room, and if you get this book October 21st, you'll learn that Biden didn't do well at the debate. But I saw it from a unique perspective because it was me, as Lindy would say. Because I really, Lindy and I were both at a White House creators meeting. And she talks about how she had free reign of the White House. I actually have never disclosed this, but I will be disclosing it in my new book, Trust, Biden's Decline, What I Knew, and Who's to Blame, a Luke Beasley story. Available for pre-order. That's me. What I've never disclosed is that I also had free reign of the White House. I actually did Biden's laundry. I haven't felt comfortable sharing that because I still have a pretty good relationship with Jill. Hunter, I don't have a great relationship with him. Not because of any of his problems, but just I wouldn't want to share that. I might though in this book. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's still my ghostwriter's still putting together, but I would. You know how most of the time, like I don't have my coffee cup, but you drink a cup of coffee, and you don't drink the whole thing. It was kind of the nature of I call him Joe, and my relationship, where I would always drink that last bit because I was kind of just all around the residence, free reign. I saw things that none of you could even imagine seeing, and I'll be delving into that in my new book, Trust, Biden's Decline, What I Knew, and Who's to Blame. So that was the announcement. It's just a big thing here. I'm honestly humbled that you all would put your trust in me to expose this. Let me see if I can find, because I kept referencing Lindy. Some of you, if you haven't seen this, will not know what I'm talking about. Oh, I wish I could find this. Be so good. How do I even, can everyone hold for a second? Okay, I see what I'm doing wrong. Here we go. Everyone hold. Everyone hold. Because then you'll understand what it is here that I'm talking about. Okay, now I'm struggling. I'll find it when I play a different clip because it'll illuminate that a little bit. But let's play a little bit of what we looked at in the bonus show with Karine JeanPierre's announcement. And again, just because this cracks me up, take note of how many words leave the mouth, but how little you'll know about what she's saying.
Hi, I'm Karine JeanPierre, and I am the author of a new book that's coming out this fall called Independent. It's coming out on
It's so close to my joke. It's creepy.
October 21st, so please do grab it. And the reason I wrote this book, coming out of the White House, serving as White House press secretary was an honor and a privilege. But since I have left, the people that come up to me, strangers that come up to me just across the country as I'm traveling, and sometimes right in my neighborhood, at a grocery store, supermarket, airport, my daughter's school, the number one question they ask me is, Karine, how do we get out of this? How do we protect our democracy? How do we protect vulnerable communities among us? What do we do next? Because we don't have answers here. That's what they ask me. And this is my answer. And what I mean by that is, in an era of misinformation, disinformation, the regressiveness of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. And that's what I've done. And that's what this book does. And here's the truth. And here's how I will lay it out to you. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan. And the way that I see moving forward in this space that we're in right now is, if you are willing to stand side by side with me.
Yeah, so just platitudes. That's it. I also want us to move forward. Do you know what I want? I want love. That's what I want. I want us to love each other by seeing each other. And if we can see each other, then we can unite with each other by grabbing each other. Is my solution. I don't know. I ripped up the book. I wish I still had it now. This would be a great time to plug it again. Dang it. We'll print a new copy. So I referenced Lindy. This was just an iconic Tara Palmieri, iconic interview that we did a whole story about. But I do want to refresh our memory because I was talking about having free reign of the White House. It's just me and Lindy. We're going around the White House together, drinking Biden's coffee, etc.
In a group setting, no.
Because you also wrote that he, quote, gave me free reign of the White House. Like, what does that mean, having free reign of the White House?
You could go to places that were usually cordoned off.
Like where?
When you go there on a tour, it's usually roped off. Or, at Christmas parties, it's like, areas you're just not allowed there. But
like what parts?
I don't know Tara, but I've never liked someone so much at first, impression. Every time Lindy says something, and then what parts? Just the utter disrespect that she clearly has for Lindy is absolutely amazing. And then Lindy's look back at her is like what you see before someone stabs you.
I wasn't in the residence. I don't know the specific the names of the parts. I don't know what you're trying to get at.
No, I'm just curious because I saw in the book you also wrote that that you could
right.
take calls.
I asked your producer not to share.
I know, but why are you being sensitive about a book that you're putting out?
Because it's in draft form right now. It's not even done. So you're sharing a form that's really rough. And he promised me that you wouldn't be sharing this rough draft with It's not ready to be published, and you're sharing a draft that's not done.
But if it's like a fact, it's a fact. Like if you wrote it, you were probably going to publish it, right? Like that's
No, not necessarily. I didn't.
Why wouldn't you share that? Like why would you write that and not publish it?
Because I'm working with somebody else on writing that book, and I know what you're referring to, and I didn't write that line.
It was on a PDF that looked very like pitch book style. Like it's gonna, if you're coming out with a lot of really big claims,
Tara,
which I don't doubt.
I'm working with a ghostwriter. That was his first draft. I did not write that line.
He just made that up.
No, he didn't make that up. Tara, that is just not
That is proprietary information, I'll have you know. You see, in the writing of my book, Trust, it's back. I actually wrote all, and there's actually words in here. You can't see them because it's actually proprietary, because this is a sheet of paper from an important meeting. But what I did was I wrote, like, 2 truths and a lie. I wrote 2 stories that were real and then included one that was totally fake. And then once we edit it, we'll take those out. Like, just, it's a writing exercise I learned in school, just to kind of get your juices flowing. Is you write something that's true, then you completely make up an utter lie, like I went and would have breakfast with Biden, and then you do a truth, and your ghostwriter has to figure out which one to take out. It's really good. But the fun thing about my book is I leave those in, so you have to figure out which one's the lie. Try. By decline what I knew. I can't even get it out. Okay, yeah, let's keep watching.
It's just not a version. And again, your producer said he wouldn't share it. It's in draft form. It's not, my book isn't out yet. It's not even available for pre-orders. Okay, it's not ready for public consumption. We are still writing the book.
It's interesting to me because I don't usually write things down, like
I didn't write it.
Share things that would be pitched or written or sent around.
It's not. It's in draft form. It's not even.
Can I, Tara? I'm gonna go on Tara's show. I just want to say stuff and have her respond like that. It's just so iconic. Okay. I'm gonna go pitch my book to her.
Or written or sent around.
It's not. It's in draft form. It's not even. We're writing the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hannah, thank you so much for the super chat. Said for the book pre-order, gotta know that it's golly. I don't know exactly, but thank you. Sunny Bear Rescue became a member. I appreciate you so very much. And Monique Geiselman became a member as well. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of your patience with my pronunciations. So that's what we covered already with Karine JeanPierre. But now you have Alex Thompson, so the other book author, who a couple things to consider. Number one, he does bring receipts. Number two, he does have an interest in discrediting maybe Karine JeanPierre because it's like a competitor book. But Alex Thompson responded to this reporting. A New York-based publicist, Gilda Squire, worked informally with JeanPierre while she was in the White House and was on multiple occasions copied on official emails before staffers raised the issue, another former official said. Squire previously served as publicity director for something, and JeanPierre was the subject of several lengthy profiles in lifestyle publications and traveled to New York to appear on The View. So Gilda Squire is this New York publicist, was working with JeanPierre while she was still in the White House. Alex Thompson responded to that saying, funny, the White House repeatedly told me that this was not true back when I asked about Gilda Squire's involvement in February 2024. And so then he says, if you don't tell the truth, off the record no longer applies. Here is Gilda Squire's denial at the time. And the email goes like this from Alex. He says, "Hi, Ms. Squire. I hope you're well. I'm a reporter at Axios, and I'm planning to report that White House Press Secretary Karine JeanPierre has recently enlisted you to help her as she navigates this, let's be honest, crazy situation with Kirby and the White House." And this was in February of 2024. "My deadline's at 7 p.m. Do you have a moment?" Gilda said, "Good evening. Nice to meet you. May I respond off the record?" Alex said, "Yes, you can." Gilda said, "This is unequivocally untrue. Thank you." Seems like it was true. Oof. But why is that notable? I guess do people have publicists when they're the press secretary? Caroline, do you have a publicist? Caroline doesn't. But I think, I guess, it's the premeditation that makes this notable. Is that why it's being discussed? Because it feels like maybe she was planning this for a long time. But we don't even know what it is that she's going to reveal. Everyone's just a little bit nauseated by the idea that she might be trying to monetize, like everyone's doing right now, that debacle. Not that we shouldn't learn from it. Not that we shouldn't acknowledge Biden's flaws, Biden's decline, etc. But just everyone jumping on the bandwagon of, I saw things that nobody else saw, and I'm saying it now when it's totally not helpful to us. That is what people are annoyed by. But maybe her book really will just be all about, even though she's already plugging anecdotes about how she's going to talk about the broken White House, but maybe it will just all be about, we need to go forward and unite and link arms. If we link arms and we walk in a circle, then we can go forward in a circle, so we're together and we're going forward. Maybe it'll just be that, I don't know. But it feels like it's going to be something different. So then Axios is reporting on how Biden world went scorched earth on Karine JeanPierre. And Biden really stood by Karine JeanPierre, despite her, as Aaron Rupar put it, not being great at her job. And I had that thought, especially now looking back, but when I would watch some of the press briefings, it wasn't up to the standard of some other ones, it felt. So she's announcing that she's leaving the Democratic Party and more interested, and people are mad at her for being more interested in promoting herself. News of the book, The Fighting Within Biden World, is part of the largest post-election angst and grievances amid new reporting. JeanPierre was a key part of the effort to conceal Biden's decline, and saying he was sharper than ever after June's disastrous debate. All right, sharper than ever? After the debate, I was saying if he stays the candidate, I'm voting for him, baby, proudly over Trump. And I was telling you, I think you should do the same. But I don't think I was saying sharper than ever. Especially not if I had known that my book was coming out. I would have kept my statements moderated so that I could put all the juicy details in here. One former White House official who worked closely with JeanPierre told Axios that she was one of the most ineffectual and unprepared people, my goodness, I've ever worked with. She had meltdowns after any interview that asked about a topic not sent over by producers. She didn't know how to manage a team. All of this is so messy. The whole, we all say positive things about each other, and then one person, and then now we're all crossing each other and backstabbing and screaming. It's crazy. The hubris, someone else said, thinking you can position yourself as an outsider when you not only have enjoyed the perks of extreme proximity to power, which bestows the name recognition needed to sell books off your name, but have actively wielded it from the biggest pulpit there is as breathtaking as it is desperate. It's difficult to see how this is anything but a bizarre cash grab. Yeah. Can we just be honest? Yes. True. Does that mean any reporting about the last days of Biden's presidency is dumb? No. A ton of reporting's awesome. And it was a bad situation. And I have told you I'm mad at Biden, the people around him, the Harris campaign, just anyone who contributed to losing to Trump. I'm mad at y'all because our democracy was on the line. And I did everything I could. I did everything right. And we lost.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Right. That's what happened. But that doesn't mean that we can't identify these steps as obviously self-interested cash grabs. That's a great point from the former Biden communications official. Positioning yourself as an outsider. I'm an independent now. I'm outside. She kept saying, outside of the box. And so I'm going to teach you how to get outside the box. You are the one. You are the box. The press imagine if Caroline Leavitt left the White House and then very quickly went, I consider myself an independent, and that's why I can tell you the truth about Trump. It's like, what? No, you were Trump. You spoke. It doesn't read right at all. And she only has the name recognition she does because she was given that position of power and was speaking on behalf of Biden. So now to be the outside, none of it seems authentic. Someone else said the amount of time that was spent coddling and appeasing her was astronomical compared to our attention on actual matters of substance. My goodness. People are mean. This is why I got out of DC. The party left Joe Biden. That's why I'm leaving the Democratic Party. It's hard to believe she'd believe that. Someone says, today Karin lost the only constituency that ever supported her, party line Democrats. That's a good point, too. The people who would be rooting on Karine JeanPierre would be like hardcore Democratic loyalists, Biden loyalists, and now the outsiders don't like her because she was the one saying, the sharper than ever stuff. You're not going to become the outsider. Aw, I feel bad. She's like, everyone else is doing a book. Why can't I do a book? I heard Luke Beasley has a book. Trust by his decline what he knew and who's to blame. Luke gets a book and I don't get a book. All right, you can take that down. So there's that. In other news, Gracie Diaz became a member by clicking the join button on YouTube. I appreciate you. Crowley said, just wanted to wish everyone a nice morning today. Indeed. I hope everyone's having a brilliant morning. This guy Dom, Lucre, who we've covered, who describes himself as the breaker of narratives and is a right-winger, says that I guess Black Panther in the new movie is going to be white, and some people are mad over this. I did look it up. It does look like, I don't think Ryan Gosling has been confirmed to be the new one. I'm seeing him on screen. That would be wild. But apparently it's going to be sort of the son of Black Panther. He's like half white, half black or something, but appears white, blue eyes, blonde hair. So this is a great chance to show MAGA they don't have to do what they do whenever things happen that, ready, set, I don't care. Like, not even this much. Because what they're wanting is for liberals to go, we don't want him to be white. Black Panther, he should be black. And whenever a character that was white is then cast by a black actor or actress, MAGA goes, they're supposed to be white. My childhood was destroyed. The Little Mermaid is supposed to be white. It's not even biologically consistent that she'd be black under the sea. Everything else about that's biologically consistent, but not the black part. The only one I did understand was Snow White. It was like, okay, wasn't it like the white thing? I don't know. Who cares? But like, wasn't it skin as fair as snow? Who cares? But I get maybe that one has a little bit more fodder for them. But other ones it was genuinely confusing. Who was one of them? You had Little Mermaid. There was another one, but a few others. They would get so bent out of shape whenever Wicked. That's what it was. Oh, the Wicked Witch of the West. Cynthia Erivo. She, the witch, why did they make the witch black? But she was green, though. And Cynthia was so good. Like, they tried to do the whole, it was a DEI thing. Did you hear her? Did you watch the movie? Did you watch her and Ariana Grande perform Wicked or the Defying Gravity live? Tears. tears. I know Navy SEALs who would cry at that. It was unbelievable. Can I play that? No, those award shows are probably brutal. Just picture it. Defying gravity. You know it. Okay, let's chill. She was the best option. And then her and Ariana Grande had this unbelievable chemistry. There's a scene. You might not, it's not what you're hearing about, but it's important. Okay. There's a scene where Cynthia's character, the witch, a tear goes down her face. And Ariana Grande's character, Glinda, wipes the tear off. That was not scripted. That was a real tear because the moment was so real. You think that's DEI? That's qualified. But they would freak out anytime a white character, someone who's cast by a white character, was then cast by a non-white character. So, Black Panther's kid being white, I don't care. But MAGA always insists it's not about white or black. It's about consistency, or why are they DEI-ifying everything? So is this reverse DEI? I think, though, in the comic books there was maybe this is, I don't know, I don't care. So, but I wanted MAGA to, you were getting really excited that we were going to be all mad. And maybe some people are, but I'm not. Go white is what I say. Whew. That's one for the history books. No, cast whoever's good. Just cast people who, and then sometimes the storyline has a part of the person's character, and the identity of that character is their race. But like Little Mermaid, there was never a reference to, as a white person, blah, blah. There's some movies where it wouldn't even make sense. Okay, you get that. But a lot of things they were mad about didn't fall in that category. I don't think this falls into any category that would matter. So just cast Ryan Gosling. Who cares? I'd love to see Ryan. Cutie patootie. Crowley said, just wanted to wish, I already read that. Ido said, become a member. A super amazing supporter. Wow. I can't remember the tiers, but I know that's high up. So I appreciate you so very much. Aaron Rupar posted, worth remembering that when Trump announced the travel ban in 2017, people literally went to airports to protest. 8 years later, Trump announces a new one, and it's not even front page news. We are the frogs, and the water's getting awfully hot. We do try to have fun on these morning broadcasts, so we will briefly talk about this, but it's so important. President Donald Trump signed a proclamation Wednesday evening to ban travel from several countries to the U.S., citing security risks. And you can see the list there. Afghanistan, Myanmar, also known as Burma, Chad, Republic of the Congo, etc. And people from 7 countries will have partial restrictions listed there. The proclamation includes exceptions for lawful permanent residents, existing visa holders, certain visa categories, and individuals whose entry serves U.S. national interests. The president made the final call and signed the proclamation after the anti-Semitic attack in Boulder, Colorado. According to a White House official, he was considering it beforehand, but Sunday's assault put it into motion. So, obviously, the attack in Colorado was horrific and disgusting, and that's what he's citing as prompting this, but this is something he's long wanted to do, and we know that these sorts of travel bans, we want to prevent attacks completely, like what happened in Boulder. And combat the anti-Semitism underlying it. That the path to that is not these broad travel bans that are really seeking to fearmonger and will further worsen our alienation problems with travel to the United States that we've been discussing. Moving on from that, Republican Representative Pete Sessions, it's interesting. I saw someone make the point that surely voters aren't going to like this reconciliation bill if the Republicans defending it seem so unexcited about it. And that really comes through in this interview.
Congressional Budget Office just put out figures that this will add $2.4 trillion to the national debt.
And that is after they then took into account something which I also struggle with, and that is tariffs. But the bottom line is that this has to come together as a piece of legislation. You see, John, if we do not pass our one big beautiful bill, then we negotiate with Democrats, essentially 9 Democrats, that simply raises spending to get us to where we get the tax cuts that we save them where they ought to be. So it is no question about it.
None of them even flirt with the concept of even maybe just not doing so many tax cuts. It's not even a part of the analysis. It's just, wait, if we had to negotiate with Democrats, they would want to increase spending, but then we wouldn't be able to pay for as much of the tax cuts. So that wouldn't work. It's like, what if you didn't do the tax cuts? Can you even speak to that? They don't even acknowledge it. Raz, thank you so much for Super Chat saying thank you for all you do, a longtime follower. I appreciate you. Let's keep listening.
Not a perfect battle for
But
us.
I don't understand.
Republicans.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Congressman, but I don't understand. You talk about the bottom line. The CBO says the bottom line is literally $2.4 trillion additional debt. This is a bill that you support, but you're also against adding to the debt. How can that be?
Well, it's going to go through the Senate, and we're going to find out what the Senate wants to do, and then we're going to make the final vote. I don't want to have any deficit spending, but what I'm trying to suggest to you is...
I don't want to have any deficit spending, but I will vote for a lot.
Is that we are stuck in a paradigm where we have to...
Good vocab word, Jeff.
Pass this...
Pete, not Jeff. I'm thinking Jeff Sessions. Pete.
Ourselves. And as you know, there are lots of arguments about raising state and local taxes to where we had members that are in what might be called blue states. So it's a balance there. That is maybe almost $1 trillion. And so what we're trying to do is balance out where the American people get jobs and job creation. We really don't want to...
You can tell he's just sort of I don't know. It's not great, but it's what we got. It's what we got, so that's what we got. You know? I know. This is crazy. I didn't know this happens in real life. This is a real video. Supposedly. I guess I don't know for sure, but these days you never know. But it seems real. And it's a police officer being like an action figure. I should probably mute it. What is happening? Is this real or is this acting? I think this might be acting. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it looks real. Very cool. Hopefully everyone's okay. All right, AI, we come back to it. I will say, if you haven't seen, I'm a little bit personally offended. I'm going to be frank with all of you. We did a video yesterday titled, "Your AI girlfriend is here." Well, it says, "Oh," right before, but then "Your AI girlfriend is here." And we explore how AI has become scary with literally AI robots for girlfriends being created. And not too many of you watched it. So, if you do want to go watch it, it's on the channel. It's okay. I forgive you this time. Don't let it happen again. But here's another example. And this is not even... this is less cool, but let's watch.
We're excited to present to you today, after extensive red teaming, our most recent breakthrough. Why are we so excited? Because you didn't even realize it's not actually me talking.
Kind of did, but okay.
Today, we're announcing our new hyper-realistic text-to-speech engine. It's capable of one-shot style transfer, and it's live right now. Let me show you what that means. To get started, you can use our API to generate individual lines, plug it into your platform, or in this case, use it directly inside Bland. Here, you can clone any voice.
Hi, Isaiah.
Sound effect. pronunciation,
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious,
and even any style.
So now they will see how good these can be with a little extra shine.
But why do we care if an AI can sing? Let's break it down. It's not just that our voices are capable of cloning with the expressiveness and realism that you saw earlier. You can give them a single example, and our voices can blend the expressiveness and tone of that example.
Yeah. So what I said in yesterday's segment was about this, which is that's way less creepy than a robot that looks like a human and that speaks like a human and can have thoughts. Or not thoughts, but whatever you call an AI thing. And speak to you like they're a person. And that we're so close to it just being indiscernible. But what I keep struggling with, and I went back and had the same thought looking at that story about the AI girlfriend. Why are they doing this? I sit down and I go, today I have to work. And I get excited because I am passionate about it. And then I think, why am I doing this? Well, I'm getting out a message that I care about, hopefully entertaining people, etc. When they sit down at work, what do they think they're doing this for? I'm going to figure out how to make it really easy for you to hear one sample of someone's voice and then copy it digitally so that we won't ever know if we get a recording of somebody's voice admitting to a crime or saying that they love you or threatening you or telling you not to vote, like we've seen with AI voices of Biden calling people's houses and saying, don't vote today. It's not the election day. We won't know what's real. There are people working every day on these programs. Why? Because China will do it if we don't. Okay, fine, I'm convinced. I kind of am, honestly. I just thought that. I was like, oh, wait. China! But beyond that, as an individual, the government, fine, government does all. But people in the private sector are going, I want to figure out how to make it completely impossible for you to tell if this is AI video or real or AI audio or real. Why? Why is that something you want? Explain that to me. What will that do? You have other examples, like phones have done so many bad things for us, but the why made a lot of sense. It has caused a lot of things to be much more convenient. You have entertainment right at your fingertips. You have communication ability. You can manage businesses. It has tons of power, so you can do so much. By the way, as a total side note, whenever we saw that Trump had his own face on his home screen, his lock screen, I changed mine for a joke in a video, and I haven't changed it back. So, so it's buff me. So that's fun. I see it every time, like, that's still there. But what? So you have a justification for this. What is the justification for? I'm going to figure out how AI can completely copy someone's voice so you would think it's theirs. When is that going to be useful? I'll wait. I'm actually wondering right now if the guys can think of something. Like in a movie, if the actor died before you're done filming and you needed to get their voice for something. All right, there's one example. But that's really that? Versus all the downsides of it? I don't understand. There are people every day going to work going, yes, I'm going to figure this out. You're not going to be able to tell the difference. Why? Why do we need that? Even nukes. If we don't do it, then someone else is going to figure it out. And we need to discourage people from ever attacking us because they know that we have a weapon of mass destruction. I get that, okay. And it's kind of worked. They haven't had to be used much. But AI, some of these AI things, I just don't understand what the thought process is. I guess, yeah, like spy stuff. You could mislead a different country's official, making them think they're getting a call from someone and they divulge information. All right, fine, whatever. I sign off, do it. I'm convinced. That's where I'll leave it. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you next time.